You're listening to The Real Fan Review with Hav, Sanj, Al, and B.
What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from The Real Fan Review. Today, we're talking that whole entire DC Fandome event. Wow.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
With me to talk about this DC Fandome event, we got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
We got my brother and yours, B.
Konnichiwa.
Nice and simple. So listen, there's a lot to talk about. DC Fandome event just happened yesterday. Let's get right into it with the thing that everyone came here to talk to us about. Brandon, that Gotham Knights, though.
That was crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a trailer so good.
No, listen. You guys come here for the movies, the TV and stuff. Video games is just maybe we'll do some other time, but that Gotham Knights, though. That looks so crazy. Let's get into the Batman. That's the first thing that we're going to talk about. I'm talking internet gone crazy. I went crazy. I called Brandon and Al and just said their names for 5 minutes before I even started talking about the trailer.
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
I cannot say how pleased I am to see what Matt Reeves is doing with this Batman. Al, give me your thoughts when you saw the trailer, your thoughts on this trailer for the Batman.
I forgot it was Batman. I was like, wait, what movie is this for? Because they are. I like the. Don't get me wrong. I like the direction. I like the mood and everything that it's setting for it. It's definitely not what I was expecting. I thought I knew they were going to go dark, but I didn't think they were going to go like this.
Yeah.
Like just that scene when the guy says, "What are you supposed to be?" and he basically. It's like. What? I had to pause it. Like I was like, wait. I don't know what's coming.
Did he say his name? I
he said vengeance.
We were gonna have to call the police for the thug.
Yeah. Oh man. Jeez. Yeah, man. But I gotta say, if this is the Batman that Robert Pattinson is giving us, and like you had to tell me, this was only based on 25% or 30% of shooting.
Yeah, that's it. 25% done.
Yeah, they restored whatever little confidence may have slipped. They definitely restored it with preview.
Absolutely.
That teaser, I should say, yeah.
Brandon, man, after you saw the trailer, after I called you and bugged you the hell out, I mean, I told you, Brandon, as soon as I saw it, I was just like, whoa.
I like the take. I mean, we've never had a take like this on Batman. You know, we've had The Dark Knight and, you know, we've had Batman Begins, and we thought those were different takes on Batman, you know, and that was something different, but this is like a whole nother ball game, you know. This is a way different Batman movie than I anticipated us getting. So I mean, listen, the same thing Al said, you know, I think I said to you guys, I don't know what direction this is going to go, and I really hope DC doesn't screw it up. And from that trailer, I am extraordinarily confident. You know, it's at this point, it's in the ball's in their court. Like, it's up to them to screw it up at this point. You know, like I'm in. You know, and I think about 99.9% of America is also in. So it's up to them not to screw it up.
Absolutely. I mean, and when I first started seeing the beginning of the trailer with the guy all taped up in the face. Yeah. The first thing I thought was Seven, and that is one of my favorite movies of all time. Is Seven by David Fincher. I got that feel real quick, and I'm like, as soon as I saw that, I put my hand up in the air, like, what am I about to see? Because it's going to be good. I could not believe it. I lost my mind. I saw it like 3 times in a row, the trailer. And then I just played it again. Every time I played it again, I noticed something new, something different. And, you know, the feel that I got, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but it seems like the Riddler's the bad guy in this movie. Like, he's the main.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and from Paul Dano, of all people, you know, like, Paul Dano doesn't strike you as a leading villain, you know, so the way he set himself up, if that was him doing the voiceover, that is, you know, if that was him, like, he set himself up really well.
Mm-hmm.
Al, what you thought about that? That really
no, that's what I'm saying. I like the way they're doing it. I like that it seems like everybody's being introduced. Like it doesn't seem like Batman is full formed yet as Batman. Like he's still developing. So it looks like the criminals are developing. Gordon is building up. The police don't fully trust him.
Right.
Like they see, so like they even had a fight scene where he's in a police room and the police are like beating him up or at least pushing him around. Yeah. So it's definitely interesting. I like the fact that it's because as we all discussed, and I know I definitely mentioned it. My fear was you were going to have an underwhelming Batman. And yeah, kid, it completely took that underwhelming away, and like I'm definitely looking forward now again, definitely to this movie coming out and seeing what they do.
My man's got a Batman voice.
Yeah, I'm vengeance.
Yeah. I like the way they did the Batcave too, because it always seemed like it was under the house. Now this seems like it was like in an abandoned facility or something like that.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to get to it from the graveyard or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it looks great. The new logo looks good as well with the red, the bat in the middle of the Batman there. But one of the things I did like more is the stuff that Matt Reeves said about it. So I know you guys saw the trailer. I'm not sure if you guys saw, Matt Reeves talk about it, but what he was saying was this is year 2 for Batman. It's not like year 1 where he just became the Batman for the first time. He's been Batman in this story, but it's early on. And he's saying that everything is functional as far as his, what he's wearing, the car, and it's because it's the beginning of him becoming the myth, the legend of the Batman. So his stuff is, I don't know if you guys saw the shot of his boots. They look like Tim's. So I'm like, my man is wearing Timberlands. You know what I mean? So we haven't got the full getup yet because it's on its way. But even him just in the room of the murder scene, when Gordon tells around and he goes, "You're becoming famous now," you see how he looks, and it looks like Batman, but the suit looks kind of like, what is that? It doesn't look like a Batman suit, but it's Batman, and it looked good though. I gotta say, in the film, it looks great. But what I love more is this is not the Riddler with the question mark suits. This is not Selena Kyle in a Catwoman outfit, not yet at least. This is their introduction as well, how they became who they are. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I mean, this is fantastic, man. They knocked that out the park, that trailer. If anyone hasn't seen that trailer, just go to YouTube, go to Warner Brothers, do something. Look for it. It's there.
it's somewhere. Find it.
It's a headline. You don't have to type anything. Just type in B. This first thing that pops up. Look at the search bar. It'll pop up. Don't even type.
I can't believe it, man. And like I said, I absolutely love it. You hear the fellas talking about it. We're all in for it. And man, 2021, man, can't wait, man. First of all, get over with 2020, no doubt. Then 2021, we got all these movies. Yeah, I'm all for it, man. The next thing that I want to talk about, we're going to kind of go out of order, the DC Fandome Event. We went with the biggest thing first, which is the Batman. Second thing was Wonder Woman 84. Wonder Woman 84, they showed some information as far as like what they're thinking about, how these characters play in the movie. And we got our official first look of Cheetah, played by Kristen Wiig. Brandon, what is your thought about Kristen Wiig's Cheetah going all crazy?
It looks great. I was something that I don't think we were necessarily worried about her look, but how Kristen Wiig herself would take to the part. And it was awesome. Any doubts you have thrown out the window, don't have them. Don't have them anymore. It's going to be great. And then the trailer itself, it just really shined. It made you, I guess, throughout quarantine, we didn't really think about Wonder Woman as a movie. We knew it was coming out, but we didn't really remember it so much. We haven't seen something. So for them to put that trailer out and give us not really just new footage, but an overall dynamic trailer got me re-psyched for this movie.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that Wonder Woman 84 kind of showed you the same thing the last trailer did. Anything about it stood out for you besides Cheetah, or just the Cheetah herself looked great?
No, Cheetah looks good. I want to see the build and arc of her character, because like they allude to that she's upset with her life, her place in life. She views it as the Diana Princes of the world versus her, people like her of the world. And then I guess whatever happens in the movie and it enables her to become the Cheetah is like to out-level that playing field in her eyes, I guess. So I want to see that arc that makes her become like that. because the way Kristen Wiig impressed me, at least from the little few clips that I saw, as to how she's taken to the character.
Right.
So yeah, so as long as they do that arc justice and it becomes believable, everything else looked good. The with Steve coming back and the joke now with the reversal of places, where
Right.
before
He's
was teaching.
He's the fish out of water now.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
she's teaching him about the world now. I thought that was cool. Yeah, and I'm just waiting to see what they do with this movie.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, Wonder Woman 84. That's supposed to come out this year still, right? Like in November or October.
Yeah, I think November or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we're hoping all this stuff changes in the theaters where we get safe enough. I believe right now in New York State we're below 1% infection rate or cases coming up. So hopefully this is a good sign that maybe things will start getting back to normal and we'll be back in the movies like normal too.
So you're telling me that November is going to be Black Widow versus Wonder Woman?
Well, I know it's like Black Widow comes out the first Friday in November, and Wonder Woman's either the third or fourth Friday in November, I think.
Wow, okay.
It'd be a fantastic month.
Okay.
We just got to get there. Got a couple more months.
Yeah, man.
The next thing we're going to talk about that they showed some footage on was Suicide Squad or the Suicide Squad. That actually looked pretty good too. I mean, a bunch of characters. We saw, John Cena playing the Peacemaker. Idris Elba is in there playing, I think it was the Black Squadron or something like that. I think I saw. We saw the Michael Rooker's in the movie. King Shark is in the movie. Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, what? I thought that was unfinished. I thought I was like, how they put the dots to nowhere. Yeah. I was like, is this an unfinished preview? What's this all about?
Exactly, man. And what they say? This is a 70s war film with James Gunn's humor, and I'm like, you know what, man? Why not? And not for nothing, but the characters and the actors of this movie sold it. They were basically hyping it up. And the thing is, like, with these DC movies, there's quality to these movies, but I just don't know if they're going to be all great or good. Suicide Squad that came out, about 2-3 years ago was okay. Aquaman, even though it made $1 billion, I wasn't a really big fan of the Aquaman movie. So they're showing us enough to make me interested to go see it, but I'm still not like, when I look at a Marvel movie, I'm like, yeah, that's going to be good. With the DC movies, I'm like, all right, I'm there. I'm interested. I'll see it, but I'm not sure, man. So, I mean, Al, the whole Suicide Squad there, man, what you thinking on that?
It seemed like I didn't know where it was, because like you said, it looked like it was in the past, but I didn't think that they were set in the past, right? Because weren't like in the original Suicide Squad, which they kind of made a reference that it's not a sequel to it, but it's not completely excluding it, like as if it never happened.
Right. Yeah, because they're having, I think, Captain Boomerang and also, oh my God, I forgot Harley Quinn's in the movie.
Harley Quinn's in it, and it's the same Harley Quinn, and now she's just not with Joker, so it's alluding to the original Joker from that Suicide Squad. And in that Suicide Squad, you had Ben Affleck's Batman. Right. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the setting and the way it looked like it's in the past, but it's not. Maybe they're just in a country, like some place that's still using those. I don't know. But but the tone and the atmosphere and the humor, I'm with it. And I want to see John Cena. Hopefully, he could bring something better to his role than he has in some of his other movies. But the rest of the cast, there's no denying them and what they can bring. So
I mean, it's a huge cast. If you guys look at all the characters that are in there, it's just a really big cast of known actors too. A couple of these guys, they're not like big and famous, but they're definitely known. Like you've seen some of them in other comic book movies or in other movies. They're like big characters, but it seems like it's a huge movie. Brandon, man, after seeing I guess it's like the making of, it wasn't legitimately a trailer. Yeah. What'd you think of it? Everything?
I was interested, because I didn't hate the Suicide Squad movie, the first one. I just thought it was lackluster because of reasons that they talk about. The studio didn't want this and that, so they had to change things last minute. That's why this didn't make sense. So I'm interested in seeing a complete movie this time. I hope nothing changed, or nothing's going to change. Just like Al, I'm a little confused on the timing of things. Like the way he explained it, kind of being that 1970s take on this, which I think is matching the Batman's tone, I guess. If they're trying to make a parallel there, but then you also have the Harley Quinn that's almost the same Harley Quinn as what's been shown. So I love the cast. I think they're going to do great. Idris Elba as a Bloodsport, I think is going to be awesome.
Bloodsport. Yeah, there it is. Bloodsport.
I think he's going to be awesome there. I want a little bit more information or a trailer, I guess, to explain some things, what the difference of this movie is, because this isn't a sequel, but it's not a prequel, but it's not a spinoff. I need an explanation of what that means. I don't know. The dictionary won't explain that to me, so I need that to be explained.
Absolutely, man. It's so crazy. But I mean, again, it looks great. And pretty much James Gunn has won us over. He's done a lot of great movies. Besides Guardians of the Galaxy, he's done a lot of good stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing his take on the Suicide Squad and how he handles it. And the tagline pretty much is, don't get comfortable with anyone. So I guess a lot of people are going to be taken out in this movie. So
those bombs in their heads do.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, there was a Suicide Squad cartoon movie that the DC put out, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago. Right. And they did an introduction of all the characters. They went through King Shark, this and that, and then
wasn't it Assault on Precinct 13?
I think so. And then 2 seconds later, King Shark's thing blows up and kills him. After they just introduced him, I was like, what? And then the RGB Beast, was it? It was the RGB Beast. He's in there, and all of a sudden 5 minutes later, his thing blows up. You're like, whoa, who's gonna be in this movie? They introduced everybody, and they're blowing up. So I think the same concept's gonna happen here, where someone tries to do something dumb and their head's gonna blow up.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely, man. And now, everything those three topics, Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, and the Batman, all had trailers and different things. Now we're going to get into the stuff that had just pretty information, maybe a little picture or two of what things are going to look like. So we'll get into those now. The first thing we'll talk about is Flashpoint. That seems absolutely bonkers, because if you guys don't know, in the week that just passed, the big news out of this week is Ben Affleck is back as the Batman, which is crazy because now we have basically 3 Batmans all in this universe somehow, some way. We have Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, and we just saw Robert Pattinson. So you got to stay on your P's and Q's, people, to know who we're talking about. All right. But looks like Ben Affleck is back in this movie. They got him to sign a deal basically last week. He said he got the script, and the next day he said he was going to do it. So I'm assuming it's not a big, scene or a big part in the movie. I just feel like maybe it's one scene at the end or maybe something in the beginning, but nothing too crazy. I doubt we'll see him as the Batman. I think we're going to see him more as him playing Bruce Wayne. But that was the big news of the week. So before we touch on other things on the Flashpoint, Al, what's your thoughts on Ben Affleck signing back in with the Flashpoint here?
I like it because so far, next to Michael Keaton's Batman, his was my favorite portrayal of Batman so far.
Yeah.
And I think even by Michael Keaton, putting him as the top is more of a sentimental, going back to my youth than the actual performances. So I like the fact that they brought him back. I think it'll help the story having Ben Affleck back instead of trying to incorporate a clip or have somebody else and you're just looking at him from behind and it's just somebody in a suit.
Right.
So to have the actual Ben Affleck back in the role, you can make it a real interaction, because from what I understand, like you said, he's not going to be a major character in the movie, but him being in the movie has a major impact on the plot. So I definitely would like that it's going to actually be him and not them having to do something gimmicky to pretend like it's him in the movie. So
Gotcha.
to see him, Michael Keaton, and how they're incorporating all these Batmans, and why do we need so many Batmans? It's making me want, even though we didn't see anything from the movie, it made me still want to see what they're doing, that they felt so important to bring Ben Affleck back for this movie, because I haven't heard that it's anything past this. I heard it's Flash. That's it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Brandon, from everything that I remember, I think Ben Affleck actually had one or two more movies on his contract before they
He had
said
two.
He had two more movies left, so this is going to be one of them. And who knows if he's going to come back for another one. I personally feel like this is the way they're going to write Ben Affleck out. Is this? Excuse me, this Flashpoint movie. This is the way they're going to get him out of there. They'll, most likely go into time or multiverse, and they'll come back and Ben Affleck's not there. So that's what I'm thinking. But Brandon, like, what's your thoughts with Ben Affleck and the whole situation with Flashpoint there?
I actually agree with you 100%. In seeing Flashpoint happen in different mediums, I think that Ben Affleck I think he's actually going to take the cape on this one. I think he's going to wear the cowl again.
Oh, okay.
I think he's going to end it off with that. I think he's going to start the movie as Batman, and then through the events of Flashpoint, he's going to come out to maybe Robert Pattinson's Batman, and Michael Keaton might be the Thomas Wayne of Flashpoint, just because like that's the way the DC universe, the cartoon movies, animated movies, that's the way they actually did Flashpoint. Was they started off with this Flash, and when he ended off, they did the whole new the new 52 thing, and that started off the whole new saga with Justice League and this and that, and they were completely different in look and in character and even voice actor. So I think they're going to do the same thing there, where we're going to start off with Ben Affleck. I think he might even take the cowl and just team up with Flash at some point. And I think that due to something that maybe they're fighting together, Flash is going to accidentally cause Flashpoint, and that's the last we see of Ben Affleck. So I think that's how it's going to work out. But I think it's cool news. Like, I want to see some kind of resolution for not just the character, but for the actor, especially with like what a lot of these actors went through after Justice League and after Batman versus Superman. Ben Affleck took a lot of that to heart. He was the one writing the Batman movie initially. He was doing it, directing it, and starring in it. And he just was really hurt by the reception of both of those movies that ultimately he pulled out, when everyone else started. So it was the case of whether he was going to have his own resolution. And I'm happy for him that I think this is going to be the case that he does get that.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
Now,
and
have you
go for that?
I was just going to say, have you guys heard anything? Is Jeffrey Dean Morgan coming in? Because I want to say I heard something that he was going to be in the movie too.
Initially, he was supposed to be coming back, but then they got Michael Keaton in there, and I haven't heard anything since. Now, there's still an opportunity for him to be, because in Flashpoint, when he does go back in time, he comes back, isn't it?
Thomas Wayne is Batman,
right?
Yeah.
So since he was Thomas, that'd be great if they can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think once they got Michael Keaton and now they got Ben Affleck, Thomas Wayne is done. So.
I also want to figure out if the plural form of Batman is Batmans or Batmen, and if they have some kind of sequence like a murder of Batman, like a scarce of Batman. Like I want to figure out what that means. We have a murder of Crow,
Yeah, man. And listen, along with the Ben Affleck news, again, we had this DC Fandome event, so we got some more information on Ezra Miller's Flash. Apparently, he's going to have some new suit that's going to include more lightning going around his suit, and also the suit's going to be more kind of form-fitting rather than I think it was like space shuttle parts.
Power suit.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, the one thing that surprised me is that no one brought up the whole thing with Ezra Miller, his whole situation with the, not domestic abuse, I think it's domestic violence, is it? But when he pushed the girl down on the floor and all that stuff like that, like, I think they're just kind of like hoping we all forget that happened.
Rug,
And I find that kind of crazy, because there was an opportunity there for them to be like, for him to say something like, hey, I messed up and I've owned up to it or something. And just for them to kind of like, not even just mention, like, he's making jokes throughout the entire interview. He's making jokes throughout the entire event, because I think he was in another thing also. I think he was with the Snyder Cut panel as well, making jokes and all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, dude, you want to say sorry?
Yeah.
I just found it very weird, man. I mean, Brandon, what's your thoughts on Ezra Miller, either his suit or him not apologizing for what happened?
I think back to the event when we did talk about it in the podcast, and I remember it wasn't very clear what the circumstances around it, whether it was an agreed upon joke, that some spectator took the wrong way. We never really got a confirmation on what actually happened, whether DC, pulled one of these,
or pulled one of these.
Especially, so like we never got a confirmation on what actually happened, what event transpired. So in regard to that, I honestly would have hoped he had said something like, "Hey, I know most of my fans saw this. I want to explain what that was, and I do want to apologize for my actions." So I do take it with a bit of grain of salt, like. I'm happy that the movie is proceeding. I'm happy there's a lot going on with there. I just hope that this actor is in the right frame of mind and resource to be this public figure that the kids are going to need him to be. Whether this movie is going to be a dark movie or not, a superhero movie is a superhero movie. People are going to take their kids, and I hope that this man is ready for that in sense.
Absolutely. I mean, are you ready to sweep this on the rug and just forget it happened once this movie comes out? Or
actually, because in a way, no, because it's never going to truly leave them, and that's why I'm surprised that. Well, I'm not surprised that they didn't address it during the event. I'm surprised they didn't release a press release, some kind of interview ahead of time, so that it didn't become like what we're doing now. Instead of just talking about the event and the movie, we're talking about this. And everybody else that I've seen talk about the Flash's aspect of DC fandom has done the same thing. They've addressed that incident. So I was surprised they didn't get ahead of this and say, Ezra, release an interview or release a statement, something addressing it. Because to what Brandon just said, we haven't heard anything, a confirmation that it happened, a confirmation that it didn't happen, a settlement of some kind, a statement from the person that was in the we haven't heard, at least I haven't. If it's out there, I haven't heard it. And I would have thought that people would have made a bigger deal if it had been. So as far as I'm concerned, nothing has come out about this. Stop letting it, don't let it be a distraction. You have so many people that exactly, kill it already. So I'm surprised they haven't, but yeah, so I'm wondering if the fact that he's so freely on that stage, like you said, the way he was in two events, just joking as if it's nothing, they must have done something behind the scenes that nobody knows to kill it, that he's not even afraid, that he's not afraid of it, of something still coming up. And that's why, so, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because like Brandon said, we don't know if that was serious. Was it a joke? Was it, did he really choke this girl and take her to the ground?
Right.
Let your fans know, because like Brandon said, we, some of us are parents and we got our kids, and how do we explain that to our kid and say, yeah, let's go watch that guy's movie, even though what he did there was bad. Just ignore that. Let's go,
let's go watch
focus
Flash.
there. Don't look over there. Just look here. Come on. You got, not that he is a role model, but he's going to be portraying someone that kids are going to see as a role model. So take the subject out of the news.
I hear you, man. And you know what? Speaking about the Flash, it kind of reminded me, man. We also saw a little panel there for Snyder Cut, man, and to see all the workings of what happened to get the Snyder Cut made was kind of interesting. It started with a couple of fans just saying they saw Justice League and were not happy because they said they could tell the difference between a Snyder Cut movie and also the Joss Whedon cut movie. So they wanted the real version of what the Justice League was supposed to be like. And sure enough, we got the Hallelujah trailer, which was basically saying, F you, Whedon, this is what I did. I mean, it was showing so many different scenes, and I'm like, they cut a lot out of this movie. And apparently we're going to get to a 4-hour, 4-part movie. So 1 hour each episode for 4-hour movies. And then once they show all 4 parts, they're going to release it as a whole movie, a 4-hour movie for Justice League, which is bananas. but to see the passion behind how this was made, and Snyder just saying everything about how he felt about the movie, and I think there was something that was left unsaid with that, and which was, to me, the fact that he stopped making the movie because of an incident that happened in his family. I'm not sure if everyone knows, but one of his children had passed away during the movie, and that's the reason why he stopped making the Justice League. And instead of the studio waiting for him to, deal with it and go through what he was going through, they just said, we'll get someone else to finish it, and they got Joss Whedon in there. So I think it's personal to him. I think this is something that he wants to finish, and he wants his version to be out, and I can't blame him for it. Brandon, what's your thoughts on Snyder Cut, man?
I mean, I completely agree. After seeing that trailer alone, I mean, music aside, I wasn't a fan of the music of the trailer, but it was a completely different movie. The look of the characters was different. The feel of a lot was completely different. Yeah. And I understand that, they cut out 2.5 hours worth of material to slim it down to an hour and a half for family audience to view. But, a lot of it looked very integral to many parts of the character. Even from the Flash's end, him just meeting what's her name, Iris. That scene alone, him saving Iris, was huge, because that's a testament to his character, because he didn't have a movie prior to that. This was his introduction to a potential movie for him. So, it sucked not seeing that because of what that could lead to. I felt like the Justice League was the movie that was going to make all these other movies off of it. Like Cyborg. He lost his movie. He had an integral part to Justice League where he ended up losing his movie. And now you're seeing from these new scenes that he has an even bigger part than he had before. Yeah. So I feel I completely agree with everything Zack Snyder said, where his movie, his vision got cut. His passion for it got cut, so that way a studio could release a movie on time. And it shows now. And that's the part that kills you, because the trailer alone shows you how different his vision was from what the final product we got.
Absolutely, Al. And if you saw the trailer, Al, you saw that there was, like Brandon just said, that scene with the Flash. How about the opening, Al? You got Darkseid in there. You saw what he looked like. It looked like they're still going to be working on some of the effects on Darkseid, but he was still there. And I mean, he looked intense. He looked crazy. Yeah. But even Steppenwolf, you saw what Steppenwolf looked like compared to what we got. That just looks sick, Al.
Yeah, no, totally different. It's a totally different character, and like Brandon was saying, and I think that was definitely one of my faults with the original Justice League movie. As much as I loved it because I'm a big fan of the characters and everything, but I felt one of the big issues was that Cyborg didn't have a development, Flash didn't have a development, so you didn't feel for them like you would have had they been developed. Like, there was no backstory other than seeing that 1 or 2 clips of Cyborg being put together by his father. But other than that, like, you don't feel his loss of his father. You don't feel anything as to what's going on. We're going to get maybe a deeper backdrop to him. Hopefully, maybe one whole hour of these 4 episodes is dedicated to his backstory. Then you get a Flash backstory so that you can understand their movie when it comes out. So it's gonna, and then on top of that, the visuals, the true bringing back, like the whole process that they go through in terms of bringing Superman back. Even though I love the scene when he comes back and he's bugging out, and they have that fight in that hall.
But that was the only enjoyable scene of that movie.
Exactly, because they didn't take the time to build everything up. They just went into, okay, there's all this fighting, and so you got lost in all the action, but there was no weight to the fight. There was no loss of, potential feeling of a loss. Like, all right, if Cyborg dies, like, we really didn't get to know who he was, so it's not going to be much. Now it'll be much if there's a potential. So and plus you get to see them do more. Like, now there was a clip where there's a tank almost hitting a cop, and you see Cyborg just jumping in front. So now the fight scenes even seem like they're going to be totally different and more involved, and I'm looking forward to them. Like, because now it's not just Superman coming in and saving everybody. like the first one was. Now it looks like, each one of them is going to be a part of this fight.
Right. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, can we all agree that the one scene that still needs to be in this movie is Superman looking at the Flash, as the Flash is in his little Speed Force?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yo,
man.
and they introduced Speed Force, or did I pick up on that different in that scene?
Oh, they said they were supposed to be Speed Force in the
Is
movie.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So he's changing the color of the lightning and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. I can't wait to see that. That's also 2021. I think more like January, February of 2021. So
Hopefully,
that's
yeah.
coming up soon. So yeah, man, HBO Max. Let's do this, man. Now we're going to get into stuff that they really didn't show too much information on. They showed pictures and, maybe just titles. So let's do Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, Aquaman 2, no name, just Aquaman 2 is being made. Let's get into those right there. So Aquaman 2, they're saying Ocean Master's coming back. So if you guys remember from the first one, Ocean Master was his brother. The one thing they confirmed is that he's coming back and that we're going to see new and bigger worlds. With Shazam 2, Shazam. If you guys listen to our earlier podcast, I used to say Shazam for some reason. For a while, right, Brandon?
For a long time. I feel like last week.
So Shazam is going to be called Fury of the Gods. No more Shazam 2. Fury of the Gods it is. So, I mean, we're going to have the Shazam family back, and they're going to be going up against some of the gods here. So we'll see how that goes. Out of those two, Brandon, any thoughts, any hopes and wishes for those two?
I would rather. I mean, I assume the Ocean Master part of this might be like I don't know. I feel like I've seen this with a sequel before, probably called something called like Thor, and where Ocean Master is going to be in the beginning and all pissy and stuff, and then he has to team up with Thor because Black Manta is going to get some kind of power up where he's going to need his help at the end. So that's how I foresee this movie going, because like the way I see it, like I'm really excited for Black Manta, especially with the whole end scene, what they had for the original Aquaman. So I feel like Black Manta is going to be a big part of this movie in some way, shape, or form. And I feel like it's going to, now that they announced that Ocean Master is coming back, I feel like it's going to be one of those weird team-up things where like he's pissy for half of the movie and then like helps out at the end.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
That movie.
Exactly.
We've seen that movie.
I've seen Thor 2.
And Al, man, with Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, man, any thoughts on that one?
That one just looks like it's going to be funny to watch because of seeing now the family dynamic with them all being superheroes.
Right.
So the first one was good in terms of the comedy aspect in it and the family part of it with the interaction between him and the foster brother. So I'm looking forward to that. I have no real backdrop on Shazam. So I really don't know like who his major other villain might be that they might introduce in this one. So I'm just looking to see what they do and how they play off the comedy and the dynamics of the siblings there, because they're still kids inside. So it'll be funny to watch that movie and see who they're fighting and how they.
Yeah, man, I got.
Oh, go ahead, Javier.
No, go say.
I'm interested in seeing, now that we have Black Adam is officially a thing, finally, after 7-8 years now, I'm interested in seeing how this comes into play with Black Adam and how many movies they're actually planning for Shazam. Because if we're on the
3.
Because if we're thinking 3, because every movie does really 3 movies. A lot of people don't go past 3. If they're doing 3 movies and the second movie is going to be about something else unrelated to Black Adam, then they're really leaving maybe that third one for Black Adam,
Exactly.
But if Black Adam himself is having his movie, how many movies is Black Adam going to have, and what can be a crossover with Shazam? It feels interesting the way they're pacing this.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like Shazam 3 is going to be the big fight that we all want, which is Black Adam versus Shazam. Just like in the comic books, those are each other's heroes and villain. They go together, salt and pepper. That's what it is. It's those two fighting each other. And I think that's where they're going to save that one for a part 3. So for me, I think that's Black Adam's going to be the introduction. And of course, he's getting his own movies because he's being played by The Rock. So it's just crazy, man. So I mean, let's get it right into it too, because Brandon brought it up, man. Black Adam. I mean, we finally got some information. You know, The Rock put on a little panel there where he showed off his uniform, which looks actually crazy. The whole black suit with the yellow, the little lightning bolt that Shazam has. And what he said basically in the story was, this is an older time with the gods and, Egypt long time ago. And he's one of either a prisoner or a slave. And he comes up from there. And he's basically saying it. He even says it. It's like, I will not be stopped by anyone, And then they get into some of the details here, which is that apparently Dr. Fate's going to be in the movie.
Justice Society.
Justice Society. Adam Smasher, Dr. Fate, Hawkman, and Cyclone are going to be in the movie. And I think, honestly, if they're bringing Justice Society into it, there's going to be probably other people we haven't heard from that are going to be in that movie as well as them. I just think those are going to be like the main characters, or the big name characters or actors are going to be those guys. So, I mean, Al, talk to me, man. I know I personally don't know much. Do you know anything about these guys like Hawkman? I know from, Justice League, but some of these other characters, they look like they're choosing a bunch of characters that actually have a bunch of, I don't know if you guys know about like those DC characters, but they're all characters that are in the past that end up in the future somehow either they get passed on, their characters get passed on to other people. I know Hawkman, Dr. Fate, and Cyclone, they've all done that. But Al, do you know anything about this Justice Society and all that?
I mean, I watched some of the CW shows. I've seen some of the characters referenced there. Obviously, Hawkman, some history with him. So it'll be interesting to see, because I don't know of them having major conflicts with Black Adam, because, again, I've never really even heard of Black Adam. So I just want to see how they incorporate, because like you said, he's like been trapped 5,000 years. Now he's out, and he says nobody's putting him back. So to see him go against the whole Justice Society, or sounds like the majority of them, the heavy hitters at least from them, and how many of them make it through, and then obviously he does, because there's going to have to be a movie where he then goes against Shazam. So to see how that plays out, is he an anti-hero? Because Rock doesn't really like to play true villains. So are they going to make him a hero that's misunderstood, and now he's just fighting amongst them, and it just continues? So, I'd be interested to see how much of it is him truly being evil for evil's sake, or he's just angry, and he's just fighting them, but there's never a sense that he's trying to really take them down, if that makes sense. So I want to see, just because I don't know Rock to play evil characters. So
it'd be an interesting take if you did, though. But absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the one aspect about this. I'm waiting to see how much of a villain they actually make him, or do they have him start off as a villain and then he becomes like an anti-hero?
Gotcha. And Brandon, man, you're a little bit more versed in the DC world and comic books and stuff like that. Am I speaking right about Hawkman and Dr. Fate, that they're either those personas are transferred to different people throughout time, or what's the case with those guys and Black Adam ending up somehow in our years, in our timeline?
Yeah, no, you're completely right. There are a lot of different takes on those characters as well. Especially Hawkman. Hawkman has two different origins that at some point in the last decade have merged. So Hawkman originally was to actually go with this movie, it makes sense. Was an Egyptian king, and Hawk girl or Hawk woman, depending on which take, was his queen, and there's something happened. There was a curse that each time they die, they were meant to find each other again, and they would die or something like that. And then it became where, there's going to be a planet where these Hawk people come from, and they're going to, fight and stuff. So it does make sense if they go with the Silver Age Hawkman, because that's going to be the reincarnated, I believe it's not John Carter, but John something. And he's I think DC Legends of Tomorrow kind of played on that
he
same
did that,
thing.
right? Yeah.
So I think it's gonna go on the same thing, but he was a Silver Age character, and he gets reborn every time he dies, and kind of becomes Hawkman every time. He's just meant to do it. Dr. Fate, same thing. His helmet was basically what made people turn into Dr. Fate because of some Egyptian ritual. And those are really the only two like Egyptian type characters. So having like Atom Smasher and Cyclone is really cool because it's a nice throwback. I'm hoping they have a little nod or at least a visual of Alan Scott, the Silver Age Green Lantern, the first Green Lantern. So I'm hoping they do a little bit of that there. That would be awesome because the Green Lanterns and Black Adam, they do kind of fight every now and then. It was kind of a thing in the comic books. So I'm interested to see how those work out. You know, if there's going to be more Justice Society members. I think there's like an Ultraman at one point, you know, who was a Justice Society. So I'm interested to see why those four. I can see why to two of those, like Hawkman and Dr. Fate, because of their backgrounds. I'm interested why the other two, and maybe why Atom Smasher, because I think Atom Smasher has some kind of relationship with Black Adam. And I think with this movie too, I'm a little thrown off because every time I think of The Rock as like an Egyptian anti-hero, I always think of the Scorpion King. So like, I'm like, is he gonna be funny or is he gonna be like super serious? Like, how's he gonna do it? Because then I'm thinking about how is it gonna work when he goes over to Shazam? Like, is he gonna be sarcastic? Like, you know, like how is he gonna do it? So I'm interested.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely interested, and that's a movie for 2022 apparently, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think the same thing with Aquaman and Shazam as well. So, I mean, it looks like they got their lineup ready to go, which is crazy because I felt like there's been this long pause with DC movies. They like put out one a year while Marvel's putting out like 3 to almost to 4 a year. So it's just like, come on, let's crank these movies out. You guys can make money here, you know? Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, and then the last thing on this DC fandom is there was supposed to be a surprise announcement. And we were all kind of hyped up for it, thinking there was going to be something about Superman. And by the way, there was no mention of Superman. Oh, I'll get dumped out already. And apparently the surprise announcement is there's going to be another movie being made called Static Shock. I personally don't know anything about this character. So let's go right to Brandon. Brandon, is Static Shock being in a made movie here something big, something good? What's your thoughts?
I think it's incredible. You know, Static Shock was a comic book in the 90s. They kind of made the character towards the late 80s, 90s. And in the 90s, late 90s, they made a cartoon for him on the WB. And I just watched the cartoon all the time. And it kind of almost takes the same place as what Black Lightning is doing in a sense. They're not the same character.
That's what at first I thought. I was like, is this Black Lightning? I'm like, oh nope, that's not.
Yeah, it's basically like the same. It's the same gist where like this black teenager, I believe from like Cleveland or Detroit, and these people in this town get like, I think it was like a gas or something that like mutated them, and he got the power of static electricity. You know, so like he rode around on a garbage can like lid, like that was his way of flying around. Like he used his electricity to make the garbage can lid like a magnet to him, and he flew around with it. But he did a lot of crossovers with a lot of other black superheroes, like John the Green Lantern. So like they had a lot of crossovers. John Stewart, you know. So he had a lot of crossovers with other black actors and black superheroes. So I think it's a really cool move because he, other than just being a black superhero, he was a really awesome character. And there's a lot they can do with him. You know, not a lot of known villains. Like his villains were very small, but with the work they can do with them, it would be really awesome of a movie.
All right, and then Al, to you, man, how disappointed? I mean, like I get the excitement for Brandon about.
Shit!
I just want Brandon to know I had that same power when I put my socks on and rubbed them on my carpet. So, Al, what's your level of disappointment knowing that it wasn't a Superman announcement or something else?
Kid, like you don't understand, like. When you told, like, I stopped watching after a while. Like when a couple of the first, what do they call them? The 10-minute panels. I watched a couple of the panels, and then I was like, all right, you know, when's that surprise one coming? And then, you know, I got caught up with stuff in the house, and then that's when you told me, oh no, they're going to play until 8 o'clock, and then they're going to restart everything. So I looked up, all right, surprise panel. What was it?
Right.
So so as it starts coming up, I'm hoping to see Henry Cavill, Superman, something. The S logo. They said, oh, surprise panel was in regards to, and I was like, why don't I see Superman here? What's up? I was so disappointed, man, because I don't know. Like, to me, I said it last week. Superman is too big a character. Cavill's too big an actor for you to say, yeah, we brought him back so that he can make that movie a little better. Like, no, you don't bring that kind of a character back to cameo in somebody else's movie and not say he's not getting his own movie too. You know what I'm saying? That's like telling me you're not going to make any more Batman movies because Batman is only going to be in everybody else's movie for 5 minutes at a time. What? Like, no. That's Batman. Like, come on. So,
I hear you.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed, especially after all that drama you bring Cavill back for the announcement that you even make a Snyder Cut. So you're going to spend all these millions of dollars to finish off the Snyder Cut, and you're not going to make an original movie again for Superman after everybody's begging you for it? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, man, I got to say that's probably the most disappointing thing, because to be honest with you, if I had to give this DC Fandome Event a score or some kind of a number, honestly, out of 5 stars, man, 4.5, almost 5 stars. And the only reason I would give it a 4.5 is because the lack of Henry Cavill or even Ben Affleck being on there. You just signed them for something. And I get that, these guys are big time actors now, so you may not have the time to get them. But if I'm right, they recorded this a while ago, because the trailer for this DC Fandome was the stuff we saw. So they recorded this a while ago. You know what I mean? So to not be able to get them for like a 5-minute just to talk and say something positive about what they're doing in the DC universe, I was a little bit let down that there was nothing on Henry Cavill, nothing on Ben Affleck, and, just maybe a Justice League 2, something, just to give us more things. But honestly, cannot complain about this DC Fandome Event.
Oh, yeah.
I personally think they killed it with this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and then the way they just even presented it, so that you saw the main video in the middle of the screen, and then all the tweets were coming up in comic book style on the right. Yeah, the way they presented it, the visuals were good. Yeah,
absolutely, man. So listen, we're going to get to the last question here, and I'm going to ask you guys your opinion on this here. With the success of this DC Fandome Event, because without a doubt this was successful the way they handled this, and D23, which is Disney or Marvel, Marvel, Star Wars, and I think Pixar is D23, and all the Disney movies themselves, are we going to see any of these kind of things in Comic-Con anymore? Like, are we going to see DC go to Comic-Con for any reason when they can just do something like this and get all the talk about them? Brandon, what's your thoughts on Comic-Con after this DC Fandome?
I think, to be honest, I think this is just because of the time we're in. I say having that live crowd cheer when an announcement comes on like that, whether they know when it's coming or not, I think that makes the whole difference. Having the actors feel that physical appreciation is, having everyone cheer and get to stand and bow for it, like all that stuff. I think they take a lot from that. So I think like taking Hall H out would be a huge thing that they would never consider. I think this is just a sign of the times. They want to give the fans something because of what's going on, because they don't have the outlet to do that in person right now. So I think that once COVID has become tamer and it's not really a thing, that is a concern for the general public, I think we're going to go back to having that D23 in-person Hall H ready to go again. I think Comic-Con's going to be just fine. I think they just wanted to make sure that us as comic book nerds, comic book enthusiasts, we all keep being stoked for these movies, and they just want to give us something to be happy about.
Gotcha. Al, what's your thoughts, man? Do you agree with Brandon, or do you kind of see it how I see it, where this was such a success and they had control of the entire Saturday for everyone that's into movies in DC? Like,
I want to say I agree with Brandon. I can see them going back to the live, because to his point, you want that live feedback, like kind of like why we love going to the theater. We love being part of the group, being part of that group reaction to seeing something happen in front of us. So I think they'll go back once they are capable of doing it, going back to a live event Comic-Con. What I can see them doing, though, is incorporating the broadcast ability that they just showed that they can do. So setting up cameras with different angles, different feeds, maybe doing, between forums of people speaking, maybe doing like a pre-recorded clip interview with some of the actors, and then doing an online stream of the live event cut in between with pre-recorded videos of actors, of previews of something. So like if you didn't like seeing it on the stage of the live event, all right, while we set up the next moment or the next event, next panel, here's just a restream of that preview that we showed, but maybe not in the background of a stage. Now you're actually seeing it fill your computer screen since you couldn't make it live. So I can see them incorporating it and maybe merging the two. I just don't see them fully replacing it, because you want that live fan interaction. I mean, I know I would. If I would have, I would want to go. If I were capable of going, I would want to go see the actor, maybe have the chance of interact with them, get an autograph or something. So, I can't see them fully getting rid of it. Not yet, at least not yet.
All right. Al's making his play for us to go to San Diego next year.
I'm down.
See if that works. Oh, man. Yeah, man. So listen, that's our DC Fandom Event review there of all the big news for the movies that are coming out and for the different titles that are coming out on streaming services and stuff. So, there was a whole bunch more, but those are the main ones, the main movies that we were talking about, before. So we brought them up today. And listen, if you had a chance to watch the DC Fandom Event, if you're on the YouTube, comment below. Let us know what you thought of DC Fandom, or what movie stood out to you the most, or what are you looking forward to the most. Let us know. If you're listening to us on the podcast, just send us an email. Let us know what you thought about DC Fandom and what movie you're looking forward to also. So last thing I just want to bring up really quick is I want to thank everybody, especially those two fellas right there. Also, Sanj couldn't make it on, so I want to thank him as well. Listen, this is our 75th episode right now, and it has been amazing to do 75. I remember our first episode, we talked about Avengers. The Endgame trailer had just came out, and that's what made us talk on a podcast there. And look at what we're doing now. Now we're on video, we're on audio. We have about 100 subscribers altogether with the YouTube and the podcast in there, and the numbers just keep increasing all the time. So we really appreciate everybody who's listening. We thank you guys as always for listening, and your comments and your emails are also always welcome. So thank you guys out there. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button below. And again, if you're listening to us on the podcast, you know how to find us. We got a lot of stuff coming for the next couple of episodes as well. So listen, coming from New York, we're going to get out of here today. Al?
Have a good night, everybody.
All right, B-Dog.
Sayonara in Chapter 2.
Our biggest podcast. And myself, Hob, I thank you guys as always for listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good night.